I'm wearing what's called like a cock sock. It's just essentially just like a bag for marbles, right? That you just put your junk and your trunk all in and you like cinch the cord.
Oh, that's
right?
how they do it.
Otherwise butt ass naked. And bent over, and Rosario Dawson herself is just looking at my bare asshole.
No way. All right, this is a long time in the works here. Anders, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing good.
Hey, what up?
Yeah, we met the first time online telling your mom jokes. That was the first time I ever met you, was on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years back that was, but like I forget how it started, but we were just like three dudes that were just going at each other's throats on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it was that Kyle had like just hit me up, been like, yo, I'll beat you in a swim race. Out of nowhere. And I was like, I don't know, maybe he will. He's like fucking 10 years younger than me and 6'8" or whatever. And I was like, all right, let's figure this out. Let's get this going. And like, it just never came to fruition, but like the trash talk turned into mama jokes. And I want to say it went on for years.
It was like 3 years of mom jokes. And then one day it was like everybody just went home. Like we Forrest Gump. We were all like, I think I'll go home now. And it just stopped.
Yeah. But I felt like,
so.
I was like, am I repeating myself? I would even be like driving around like, that's a good one. I got to pull over. Let me just get this one out real quick. Get this one off. You know, and they were bad. It was like your mom takes guitar lessons at Kmart, right? Or like whatever. It was just like not things. Your mom's got one tooth named Michael, you know.
And like all the cool people online were like, they'd pass through the thread and be like, I don't get this.
Right.
And they just keep it moving. So, but we stopped and we had like connected and we were like, we got to do something, man. I got to get you on the show. You wanted to come on because I guess you watched some of our shit. And this is the admission. We watched some of your shit. Okay. We've never actually committed to watching Workaholics front to back. So I feel uncool in that way. But I've watched hours of Workaholics on YouTube.com.
But you've seen an episode.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Our friends have seen episodes.
Our friends love the show. We just wanted you to know that off the top of the show. Like, I think you might have something here with Workaholics. Because everybody in my group text is fucking psyched that you're coming on.
Great, that's huge. No, I don't care if you've seen. Basically, I was like, you're like, I haven't seen it front to back. I'm like, if you've seen an episode or just like a scene of Adam almost dying doing something, like you're up to speed. Basically, that was the entire series.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that. Yeah, I wanted to get that out there because it's hard to interview a guy that's as interesting as you and like not know the show front to back. You know, you make a reference, and I'm afraid I got to do like the fake laugh thing. And I thought you were like Workaholics fanboy. You came in here and you're like, I haven't seen all of the show, so I don't know if I should feel better or worse now because I thought I had a wingman.
No, but it's a credit to the writing because in college, we graduated in 2008. Like it's pretty easy to understand the context of a tight or a loose butthole. Like you don't even need to
you get it.
Be going front to back on every single episode.
Yeah.
It's,
that's how my parents explain it to their friends.
Yeah, you too.
What is the Workaholics? What's the Workaholics fucking, you know, I saw you guys on an interview talking about how people, I think it was Conan, and which is awesome. Like, I mean, going on that show has to be amazing.
Yeah.
But like,
legend.
Homeboy was saying that like, or actually you were saying, somebody rolled up to you in traffic and just awkwardly hit you with the like tight butthole line. And I got to feel like if it's not, you know, like that's not the one that strikes the best chord. It's like a little too chalky because even though I knew that one, like what's the right Workaholics, you know, one-liner that's going to tickle your fancy?
Like the deep cut kind of thing? Because like a tight butthole, you know, when you're in public and you're like, you know, you're at Disneyland with your kids and someone's just like, tight butthole. And I use my name on the show. So like people come up to me saying my name and my kids are like, do you know them? And I'm like, nah, but tight butthole means it's a thing we say. Like they're like, what is my dad's life about?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, a deep cut. I don't know. A lot of people. We had like a lot. So like, I was a swimmer in real life, and then my character on the show was also a swimmer. So like, I was really putting the sport of swimming on in like the only possible way you can, which is like not quite cool, but kind of something a person did, right? And so there's a scene in an episode where like I talk about fighting these grown men who just showed up at a house party we threw, and we're kind of like commandeering like the girls and the drinks, and we're like, who the fuck are these guys? And I'm like, they're looking at me like I didn't go 20 point in the 50 free. I will roll up on these dudes. So a lot, and by the way, my co-stars Adam and Blake, they're like, what does 20 point mean? And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just something swimmers say. It's 20 seconds in the 50-yard free. But we just say 20 point because it's like whatever. And so dudes will shout out like, yo, I went 20 point. And I'm like, they don't even know what it means. You know?
Yeah, but that's a deep cut, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The swimming references, the dudes would just have to be like, this is a good one. And I'd go, yeah. And then I would kind of like gauge on Twitter that night when the episode dropped by like the amount of swimmers being like, oh my God, the way you said he had good underwaters. You don't know what that means, but I know it and they know it. And it was kind of a fun thing to do for the show.
With the swimming thing, you were a bad boy, huh? You didn't last.
I rocked the boat. Yeah, I was enjoying extracurricular activities a little too much.
Yeah, was that what's going on Mifflin Street or Mifflin Block? Is that how you got in trouble up there?
You know, it wasn't Mifflin, but Mifflin, for those who don't know, so I went to Madison, Wisconsin for college. And Mifflin Street Block Party, once upon a time, was like essentially a humongous throwdown where people are just like trashed on the streets. And I know people from New Orleans are like, yeah, that's our lifestyle. But like, you know, this is a college and it's just going off, and like it's a ton of houses for about 4 or 5 blocks, and every house has like 10 kegs, and it's just like going off, and the police kind of look the other way for a day.
It's like Varsity Blues.
But no, so what went down was it was like one of the earlier weeks of my junior year. We were doing a case race, the swim team. 2 guys to a case as fast as you can. And then we hit the bars. And I had a couple too many drinks, walked outside, walked over a parked motorcycle that I just didn't see there. And then got like clowned by some dudes that were all together. And then I just kind of swung at actually the dude pushed me, and then I swung, and the rest is legal history, and we're not going to
Damn, I didn't have fight on my bingo
card.
But
I ended up it was a holiday weekend, spent a few nights in lockdown.
Whoa.
Missed some like the opening swim dinner thing, and my coach was like, where were you? I'm like, jail.
That's unbelievable.
He was like, "Oh yeah, okay. So like you're off the team. We can't be rocking the boat like that." Yeah. So yeah, that was those were the days, making big mistakes, paying big consequences.
Some character issues there.
Well, the nice thing about early aughts indiscretions is that they've now been expunged.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot wrong with this country.
Yeah.
The legal system, though, for affluent white people,
it's great.
We're all right.
Yeah.
You know, you won't find any record of it.
Did you?
It was gone.
Did you swimmers like just vigorously hook up with each other? Was that like a horny sport? Because I feel like there's a very Olympic sport.
Not at every school, but at our school, we were coached together with the women, right? So like we shared coaches. And then, there were definitely couples who hooked up like week 1, freshman year. And then like the last week of senior year, they were like, I can't do this anymore. We have to break up. And you're like, whoa. But they like just got in their mode, locked in. They were like, this is my girl. This is my guy. But yeah, there was a little bit of like, oh, like you dated that chick last year. Now you're dating this one, and she dated him, and now she's dating that dude, and a little incestuous. I had a girlfriend, now wife, outside of the team, so like it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, one time I hooked up with a swimming gal, and this is a true story. This was college, Meg, if you're listening. And it didn't go far, but she smelled like chlorine, like strongly smelled like chlorine. And also, she wore...
It's a lifestyle.
She wore the Speedo as like the underwear. I didn't get past there, but she was wearing the Speedo like out to the bar.
What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like a women's bathing suit, or she had a men's bathing suit on as underwear?
Women's bathing suit, the multicolored Speedo brand. You know, you swimmers wear that stuff, you know? And I was just, I didn't know.
Because for a second I was like, that was a guy.
No, not a guy.
I mean, and like, she was strong.
Yeah.
No,
so that's, do 20 seconds.
Well, you know what though? You're they can now, dude. These girls are fast. Fucking, you're just in the lifestyle. I mean, you know, like, you why are you taking the suit off? You're just gonna be back in it in like 3 hours after class or whatever. Like
2 hours after the bar.
It's such a dirt dog sport because you're doing 2 hours in the morning, then you're probably gonna go to the weight room outside of that, then you're going to classes or whatever, then you go back for 2.5 hours in the afternoon. Like, you don't even shampoo. You're like, why? This is a waste of money at this point. You know, and these poor girls who are trying to like maintain their nice long hair or whatever they got, like it's an uphill battle for sure.
When you were kicked off, what happened to your physique? You know, not having to burn the calories anymore. What happened? So
for the first year, I kept training on my own because I was like, I'm gonna get back on it. I'm gonna get back on the team. And so it was fine. I actually got way bigger because when you're swimming, you're just burning tons of calories. You can eat anything. It's very hard to put on weight. So I put on weight and I got like super strong, and I didn't really lose my shit until the next year when they're like, "No, you're not coming back." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna start drinking." Also, I was like underage, and so I couldn't. I mean, I could drink if I wanted to, but like I couldn't go out and drink because then, like, if I got carded or caught or whatever, I was on like probation, right? So like I pretty much just like locked it down for that year and just started writing movies actually at that point.
Did I hear you say this? And you know, I was trying to lead you into a trap to talk about man boobs, that you said you got man boobs?
Oh yeah. So like when I swam, I was like chesty, you know, like I had like taut pecs, you know. Most swimmers are pretty lean up top. And then now, like as a man, as a grown man, it's just like some flappy dapples. It's a fucking
battle, dude. It's a battle. And I was gonna say, I was wondering if you had any tips for the guys out there that are trying to get fresh with the man boobs, because it can be hard. You know, some of these little guys can wear these cool little designer T-shirts. I've never been able to do that. I have like borderline man boobs, like not quite man boobs.
Yeah,
that's why I'm wearing soccer kits these days, bro. They just rest easy on the chest.
Because it tightens up your game a little bit?
Yeah, it does. So you got any tips? Like, how did you navigate that?
I mean, it does. As soon as I cut calories, like eating-wise or whatever, now as a grown-ass man, they go away pretty quick.
Yeah.
I got a buddy who's a strength coach who played football at Wisconsin. And he was like, decline bench, man, decline. It'll tighten it up down there. I'm like, okay, all right, decline
I've heard
bench.
the same thing. I'm just too lazy. Yeah. And they're soccer kids.
Yeah, I'm like, what? And I'm like, am I putting on like a lot of weight, or am I doing a lot of reps to like bring it back? You know, because I don't want to build muscle there, because then it's like, it's only going to become something bad down the line. You know what I mean?
You're exactly right. And you did the commencement speech at Wisconsin. You know, Russell Wilson, J.J. Watt, Anders Holm. Like, how was that? Were you nervous? Like, you got to do a lot of shit that would make me nervous. But I remember I did it at Virginia, and I didn't sleep for like 3 days. You know, I never get nervous before a football game. That was as scared as I've been, because you're standing in a room full of people who are much smarter than you. As a football player, you got into Wisconsin on your own accord.
Yeah.
But for me, it was fucking nerve-wracking.
Well, no, I swam my way in. And this is what I have to tell everybody who's like, these football players don't give a shit about academics and da-da-da-da. I'm like, guess what? I was a horrible student, right? So like, I think I graduated with like a 2.5 4 or 6 or something like that, which is not like the swim team is like engineers, business school, everybody's super dialed in. But for me, like, yeah, it was a struggle. So going there was like hilarious. But yeah, I was nervous, man. Like, not nervous. Well, let me just say this. I like wrote all my stuff, and then I ran it by one of the writers at Workaholics, and I was like, what do you think? Funny? Like, this good? Like, that hits, right? That kind of thing. And he was like, trim that. Maybe take that joke out, kind of thing. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm ready to go. But yeah, I had to do it 4 times because they did it inside the basketball arena, which they like split it up. So it was like about like 3,000 people 4 different times. So like morning, afternoon on Saturday, morning, afternoon on Sunday. And the first time I got up there in front of those 3,000 people, like heart pounding, going like, and I'm like, chill. Like, what? Who cares? Like, just be funny. Just do your thing. And I just like blazed through it in like 15 minutes. And then like each subsequent speech was like a minute longer, a little looser, having more fun with the audience. Like the last one was garbage. But the third one was pretty good.
Yeah. I did it here, and then I think Ed Helms did it the next year, and I was just out in LA for the Willie 90th birthday party thing, and I was backstage at this little like VIP area, which I had no idea how I got back there. But I was 5 feet from Ed Helms for like an hour. And I almost was like, hey, man, we're part of a fraternity. But I felt like I might come across like a fucking nerd. Do you know Ed? Would that have been a good move by me to come up and start a conversation?
200% should have done it. He's the nicest dude.
Damn, dude. Damn. And I feel like we locked eyes, and he knew we were part of the fraternity, but I didn't come over.
Yeah, no, he probably would have loved that. Because like that's specific. That's not like... Excuse me, in Hangover, like, were those your hands on the piano, or like, was that like CGI or a stunt guy? You know, you like are coming like very specific. No, he's a super nice guy. He would have loved that.
Chris, you talk about Virginia. Anders is talking about Wisconsin. Anders, did you know that Tulane University is expanding?
Hey, the universe is expanding. What do you mean? Why? Oh, to what? Like a different conference? What are we talking about?
4-lane.
4-lane.
That's the
now we're talking.
Yeah, he tells that joke to everybody that comes on the pod, and every time he does it, my heart just sinks, dude.
I haven't done it.
He'll tell it to like Michael Irvin the first 2 minutes that Michael Irvin's on the pod.
It's been 18 months since I've done it.
He comes on strong, dude. You know what I love? That he didn't laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I'm
everybody else
about that
acts
all night.
like it's fucking funny, and it's not funny anymore.
Do you understand the joke?
Yeah, I got it. Moving on.
This is so good.
No, you know what? I'll say this, and it's probably been a detriment to like just my life, is I'm not a big laugher.
Thank you.
I'm more of like that's funny.
Me too.
It's not funny because imagine you're a podcaster and your co-host doesn't laugh.
I know. It's tough, and I've gone on like other comedians' podcasts, and I watch it before like I go on, and they're just like yucking it up, laughing, and I'm like not that guy. So like when I go on, it just has a vibe that seems like we're not having a good time. But I'm just like, what am I like just gonna laugh at everything? Like, it's not like, because some people, it's like a nervous tick almost, where they're like, I'm gonna fill the air and make this person feel good by laughing because I'm just laughing, and I don't trust those people.
Just laugh. I just fucking laugh.
What he's saying is he found it very funny. He's just not a laugher.
Yeah. Well, what like comedians and podcasting, man, like
that's a strong joke.
I got to be honest, dude. I really love y'all's podcast. I mean that sincerely, and as somebody who has a podcast, and every time
thanks, man,
we stop, I'm like, that fucking sucks, because nobody wants to hear themselves talk, especially not me. And it's really hard to like, for us who are not comics, we're not like people that can fill dead air naturally. Like the sports calendar is long. There's days we got to make shit up. I feel like it's really hard to believe in your work. The podcasting, does it come easier to comedians and writers? Because I feel like that's y'all's wheelhouse. I almost feel like it's unfair. It's so easy when I turn it on. You guys are just going.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've known those dudes since 2004 or something like that now. So like, I mean, we know what we are to each other. We turn the dial up a little bit on the podcast as opposed to like when we're just hanging out and being ourselves. But it truly is just like us shooting the shit over Zoom because we can't really see each other that often anymore. We're working. Somebody will be in Atlanta working. Someone will be up in Vancouver. And it's just like a good way to catch up and shoot the shit. And also like reveal stuff and argue about things in ways that like, cause we're very different. I'm actually maybe like the black sheep of the crew. Like, Kyle, Newacek, who directed most of the episodes of Workaholics, and Blake Anderson, who's got the long hair, they grew up together. They've known each other since they were like 9. They met Adam in junior college out here when they were like 18. And then I came in on the scene 4 years after that, I think. So like, I always had like my girlfriend, my now wife, like I didn't live with them. They all lived together. We just have different vibes about things, but the like comedy respect is there where I'm like, these dudes are hilarious, right? And like hardworking. And when you move to LA, you try and make sure you don't like link up with flakes or like, well, this dude's super talented. It's too bad we never know where he is and we can't like rehearse our sketch comedy.
Oh my God, dude. It's you're describing my co-host. You want to talk this out?
Oh yeah, you were the flake. You flaked out.
Oh, the flake. We're the flake. He is the flake.
I like to stay home.
He doesn't like doing the calls before the show. He just comes in and hits it out of the park, you know? He's that guy.
Hey, well, it sounds like you've made it your personality, so that's kind of like a way to like work it,
it's a bit.
You know?
It's a bit.
I don't know that it is a bit, though.
It's life.
Yeah.
It's you, but it's hard to tell where the bit stops and where, you know, like normal you begins. I love Blake, bro. He's like, he's fucking hilarious. I'll just watch his 4-box. I was watching the video the other day of when he went on Ellen, and I was just crying, dude. Him going on the Cincinnati news station and fucking being, was he blackout?
Unreal. Oh, yeah, like the Warriors had won, so I think he was out till 4, woke up at 6 for a 6:30 interview, and then the dude was trying to like give him some guff, and he was like, what are we doing? Why am I even on this? Like, I know I got to promote this movie, but like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
The guy's like, oh, you're eating a donut? He's like, it's a bagel. But no, I mean, look, he's a go hard.
Yeah, he is a go hard.
He's a go hard, man.
Who do you think's got the, like, I know I listen to a lot of comedian podcasts, y'all's included. Who do you think has the best one, you know, of your peers that you're like, yeah, I really like, you know, I like their work on screen or writing or whatever, but they really shine in that podcast and share?
Man, you know what's weird? I don't listen to that many comedy podcasts.
Yeah.
I like listening to, I'll just say who I like. I like Andrew Santino. I think he's always funny.
Yeah, he is funny.
He has one with Bobby Lee called Bad Friends, and I think he has another one that's just him, like Cheeto Santino or whatever.
Yep.
But that dude just is always funny. I like those dudes on the Flagrant podcast.
Schultz.
Andrew Scholes.
Yep.
And
Singh.
yeah.
Schultz and Singh.
And Akash Singh.
Yep.
Those dudes are funny. They're also like up on it. Like they do it every week, more or less, not live, but like they drop shit like when it matters. Our podcast, sometimes we'll be like 4 weeks ahead talking about shit from forever ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they do it like right when the news is happening, and they have like, they take hard stances and big takes on stuff, which is always fun.
I like Smartless. That your guy from Arrested Development's on there. Arnett is on there. I think that's great, and I love the concept of that show.
Yeah, I mean, like, interview shows are like, you know, they're evergreen because like every week you're like, oh shit, Keanu Reeves is on. Like, oh shit,
Doesn't
like
matter.
Paul McCartney. Like, I gotta listen. Doesn't matter. It could be anybody. They get the fucking craziest guests though.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? Like.
They do.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit more respect for the people who, I mean, I guess most podcasts do guests, but like, I like to watch ones where like they riff for quite a while before the guest comes out. You know what I mean?
We hate
so,
doing
like,
those.
You
but
get a sense of
them.
what they are, and then the guest drops.
Yeah, they're hard. It's harder.
I want to know who you guys are.
This is easy. Like just
that.
talking to somebody on Zoom is easy. I could do this for 2 hours. But when you got to start like talking about the Zion Williamson situation, you got to start talking about Omaha. You got to start. Yeah, it can be boring. How about like comedy and crossover? You know, like there's a lot of guys and gals who have kind of like made their money being funny, and then they take a hard right turn and they star in movies where they're more serious. Or, you know, I think about Jim Carrey. Like some of my favorite movies, period, are Jim Carrey being fucking serious. Like, how hard is that? And is that something you've ever considered doing? And I know you've probably done it. I mean, but is it something that you ever have to contend with doing more permanently?
Yeah, so like I think I have done some drama, and I'll circle back to me, but like the Jim Carreys and like the Will Ferrells of the world who have like, they just take over, right? And like they're the funniest people in the world, like straight up. I think at a certain point, they're just kind of like sick of being funny, wondering if like they're taken seriously at all. You know what I mean? And then also at a certain point, like not for everybody, but for almost everybody, like unless you can pivot to a different comedy take, like the jig's up, right? Like people can see where you're going with it. They know like the cadence, and like there's very few people who are like always funny with that same thing that they've always been doing. Like somebody like Bill Murray, who did like kind of man of the party, that kind of fun guy, at some point like pivoted to like the curmudgeon as he got older, right? And it was like, oh, a whole new slew of like movies and ways to see Bill Murray, you know? And like also like just the challenge, you know? Like people get bored. They're like, okay, I can like run around and be an idiot for like $20 million again, or like I can do something that challenges me and is interesting and not so just kind of easy, because it's easy for these people. People were so funny. They might be killing themselves and like putting in effort, but like it's easy, you know? And yeah, so I've done some drama. I did a movie called The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway, where I had to be like dramatic and cry and all that kind of stuff, which was super duper embarrassing because just couldn't do it. I was like, blow the menthol into my eyes, please, get them going, and then we'll call action. But I'm also doing this Godzilla show for Apple TV Plus that comes out later this year.
I saw that.
Where I'm doing more drama, and I'm kind of like the light drama character of the show, where I've got like a sense of humor. My character has a sense of humor, but there's moments where like, you know, we're getting chased by Godzilla and monsters and all this shit, and people are dying, and I got to get there, you know.
Have you seen Cocaine Bear?
No. Is it great?
Dude, it's better than I ever thought it would be. I mean, like, I didn't know if the Godzilla movie was going to be all serious or if it was going to be some comedy, but like the monster comedy genre of movies, which is like really hard to pin down. I felt like it was the 90s again. I felt like good comedy movies were back. Like when I walked out of that theater, it was fucking awesome. You should see Cocaine Bear.
Check it out.
You mentioned the crying scene. How did you end up crying? Because I heard a story about De Niro. Who was he telling? Sebastian Maniscalco. Yeah. He was telling him like how he cries thinking about his kids. And I don't know if you could actually like trigger that from something so serious, or if you had to think around it.
So like this is the like long story of that movie, is that I was like, all right, and I think it was like my first day on set, maybe my second, where they're like, hey, we're gonna be doing that crazy scene where you break down and cry. I'm like, fuck, okay, just me and Anne Hathaway, who's like Oscar winner and a total G. Like in my audition with her, like I went to New York and like got in a room with her and like ran the scene, and it's like my line, her line, and then in the action it's like you cry, and then her line and she cries, and it's like boom line, it says I cry, not happening. She says her line, then she just starts crying. And I'm like, fuck, oh boy. You know, and then they're like, okay, cut. Good. Yeah, let's we're going to pick you or whatever. And I'm like, oh, great. And she's just like, Kleenex? We got Kleenex here? Nice, good girl. I'll see you on set. So anyway, on set, I'm like, all right, you couldn't bring it in that audition. You're bringing it today. And this is like a sad, this is a sad thing, is that I had a friend who passed away like near that time. And I was like, I'm gonna pull up a picture of my guy and just like think of the good times and that kind of thing before the scene. And I'm kind of like over in the corner and I'm looking at my buddy. I'm like, God, I can't believe you're gone. This is crazy. Died young, like in his early 30s. And then I was like, he would clown you so hard for doing this right now. And then I just started laughing. I'm like, okay, we're putting this away. And then I called for the menthol stick and I was like, just blow it in my eyes. But since then
That really is a thing.
I've thought of things that I can conjure that do trigger it for me. And I'm going to keep it secret so that I don't blow my wad. And then I'm like, on set and someone's like, you going to think of that thing right now? Good luck. And I go, fuck you. God damn it. You know?
That's good. With Workaholics, one of the interesting things I was reading about the show was like you guys were shooting in the house. And then, like, I kind of wonder how hard it was to live where you work.
Those three dudes lived in the house. I lived with my wife, girlfriend at the time.
So you were a grown-up.
I was like the grown-up dude. I wore, like, shirts with collars, and people thought I was organized. And I'm like, I'm a fucking psycho mess. Like, what is happening? But so here's the deal. It was fucking awesome because they got rent paid for 2 years. Until like they moved out to their, bigger paycheck house. And then like I'm up in the morning, like showering. I got to like commute to their house. They wake up when like dudes start setting up lights in their house. They're like, hey, Adam, wake up. We got to get in your room and set up some lights. And he's like, all right, I got to shower, like amazing. The best. And like the house gets cleaned by the crew. I mean, it's also like, probably a fucking nightmare. But those guys were 26 at the time, 25 or something like that. Like they don't care.
No. And you wrote in some pretty messy shit. Some of the stuff I've seen that I really liked was the food fight episode, which I thought was awesome. And then the beef jerky situation you had going where your dad was supposed to be over at the house. And I guess I think Adam's like pissing on the carcass of the cow in the bedroom. Do you have a guess how much that house is going for on Airbnb right now a night?
No, but I think it is like an attraction. I think you can like rent the Workaholics house. I have no idea. It's 4 bedrooms, I think. Is it 600 a night?
No. It's $215 a night. Well, actually, sorry, let me take that back. Golden Girls, their house, which is a comparable house, architecturally and the whole thing, is $215 a night. Yours is $200 a night. So I was just wondering if you thought that was too low.
Okay, that's comparable. I'll take that.
The Golden Girls.
I mean, I guess it is out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in Van Nuys. It's not near the city. Like
near the private airport.
I was going off of like, that's true. This is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the true big baller shot callers can fly right in.
Right into the Workaholics.
Of the Golden Girls, who would you say you are?
That's a good one, I think.
Oh, shit, I like this. I mean, I gotta be Rose. She's got the Scandinavian background. She's an idiot. She's just, that's me, basically.
Yeah.
Just a dumb Scandi.
Like, with the show, you writing the show, and, like, shouldering that burden, is it a burden? Like, and does that affect sometimes the relationships momentarily when you're like, fuck, dude, I had a vision for this. You want to go a different way with it. Like, how does that whole process go? And is it a pain in the ass?
At the end of the day, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's amazing, right? Because like, I mean, I guess I could equate it to like when you draw up a play and it works exactly as it's supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like, we're just drawing up plays. We're like, yo, what's something people have never seen before that's going to catch them off their rocker? Like, what can we do that's different? How can we film it that's different? What's a funny story that's relatable, that people are going to love and be like, oh my God, that's me. And then like, as you like ratchet it in. So that's just like story. You just start like big, like what's something people are into or we're into that we want to like set an episode in that world or in that scenario for the day. Then we kind of build it out and we're like, how does it get more complicated, get worse? How do the stakes get higher? How do we ruin it for ourselves and have to redeem ourselves, you know? And then we kind of build out the outline of what the shape of the story is going to be. And then you get in and you just start scripting it, and then you get to just like sprinkle it with jokes, right?
Yeah.
So jokes are like the last thing.
Yes.
They're not inconsequential, but like if the scene's not good, like the jokes will just kind of not land.
Yeah.
But if the scene is good and like loaded with the story that you set up, the joke will like really land.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you get to the set, and sometimes you throw stuff out and you're like, this isn't really working how we thought it would. That thing you just said is funny. Why don't we build off of that for a second? And then the tension will come from this new argument we just discovered here, which will spill over into us going to talk to our boss, and we're like hitting each other under the desk based on that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, you're constantly just trying to mold and sculpt and take things and make sure that they're funny to you. Because if you're not laughing, like, why are you doing it? You know?
Did you end up in ruts sometimes where you couldn't write, like, and it was a struggle?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes you're just like, maybe you're even chasing the wrong thing. Like, we would get caught up on like, all right, what's the drug episode going to be for this season? Because our drug episodes were always like a good one. We do like shroom episode, and then like the cocaine episode, and then like the every drug episode. And so it got kind of like a thing we thought we might have to do. And less organic. But yeah, you get in ruts with yourself, and then you also don't want to like bite any other show that's done something similar. Like Community or Always Sunny or The Simpsons has done everything, right? Like shows that were your contemporaries, you're just trying not to like do the same thing as them. So yeah, but like with me and the dudes, like we would find it. We would just dip back into our bag of 90s tricks and references and like, you know, be like, what if we found a laser disc of the Warped Tour and like took it to fucking, I don't know. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We would just try and crack each other up.
Would you method act during the drug episodes ever?
No, I only smoked weed during our finale.
When
we're on the roof for the last episode, and we're like lighting up some bowls or a joint. I can't remember what it was, but Adam says like out loud, you know, in a meta way, he's like, "Ooh, this is real weed," and we're like, "Yeah, yes, we're smoking real weed." As like the camera pulls away from us.
That's good.
I
got to get
those
there.
Guys did before, but yeah,
I just got to get there. I've been saving.
You don't want to be stoned.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Well,
it's rough.
Go ahead.
Well, no, you smoke a lot of marijuana.
Yes.
In here.
On the set, because sometimes it knocks the edge off. I think it's probably different than acting. You know, some days you're not in the mood to talk about whatever we're talking about day to day.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be stoned on set, I would just be a fucking mess. Because I just am like a dude who lokes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like in the couch, indica, whatever they say. I'm just out of it.
Yeah.
So like, would not be on my game.
Did you have any odd jobs while you were writing?
Dude, I mean, totally. When I moved to LA, the first job I got was at Lacoste on Rodeo Drive.
Oh, sick,
which
man.
was sick.
Nice.
They got sick clothes.
The discount was wild. I was like the man that Christmas. I came home like, ho, 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 a scarf for you, mother, 3 polos for you, my brother, father, 2 sweaters and a fucking pair of socks. Like, killed it. And then like decided to stay home longer, because like retail, like around the holidays, you got to be there because people are like returning stuff. And then my parents were like, will you just stay here longer? I was like, I don't know if I can. They're like, just change your flight. And I was like, all right, let me just tell them I can't get back for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And then when I got back, they were like, so you're fired. Yeah. So I was only there for like 4-5 months or something like that.
Was that the Lacoste callback from About My Father? Weren't you a Lacoste model or something in that movie?
I mean, it comes full circle. Really, I mean, I looked like one. Jesus.
Yeah, you do.
That movie's insane. I played a crazy person in that.
You do. You got a face, man. You got a face. That's a scene I saw too, where you had your modeling shots all laid out on the counter at work, and the boss walks in. That shit was funny. Adam was pissed off.
And it's just me, like
yeah. Hansel and
people thought those were my real headshots, and I'm like, no, I took those for the show. Like,
can I tell you who you look like, dude? You kind of look like if when Dave Chappelle would do whiteface.
Yeah,
you kind of I almost feel like one character was inspired by the other a little bit. It's not.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. I'll take that. With like, especially like the hair that I had on Workaholics, where it was like combed over.
Yes. I don't know why that popped.
I like that. He had like the blonde mustache, right?
Yes. Good, looked a little Scandinavian.
I love that.
I had a colleague today. I sell real estate for a living, and I had a colleague today. Mm-hmm. She gets a kick out of this gig and asked who we were interviewing, and I said Anders Holm. And then she says, oh, Workaholics. And I say, yeah. Somebody else says, show me a picture. I show the picture. They say, oh, hot park ranger vibe.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't know if there's a better vibe than hot park ranger.
No, I like that. Tall socks, the calves are just kind of poking out of it. The shorts are short.
Yep.
You're excited to be at work.
Camelback situation happening.
Mm-hmm. Might be a camelback situation.
Authority figure.
Yep. Yep.
Like rough hands, that kind of thing.
That's good.
Huh.
That's a good review, though. Honestly, it could be worse. You talked about Godzilla and Titans. I know you're doing a Muppet thing. You just did a Muppets thing where you were a voice. Who'd you voice over?
No, I played a human. I played a human actor character.
Okay, cool. So this will still work.
Called Muppets Mayhem.
Okay, Muppets Mayhem. Okay,
because you're gonna make me do voices.
No, I wasn't gonna make you do voices. I was gonna ask you to play Marry Fuck Kill with Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo.
Okay. Yeah, I'm killing Fozzie right off the bat.
Why?
Not for me. Not my guy.
Yeah.
Just doesn't really stand out to me as a guy I want to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
I marry Kermit. I feel like Kermit's got like kind of like an emotional, like, this is a guy you want to be in the trenches with. Mm-hmm. And then Gonzo. That nose,
bro.
I think we know where that's going.
I know exactly where that's going.
That's going right up the pooper.
Well, you did a really good scene. You did a good scene with Rosario Dawson, where she was doing something down there.
I've got experience with this.
I thought you might say. Gonzo. Actually, you made a sex noise in that scene. What went into that creative process for you?
Dude, first of all, the movie he's talking about is called Top 5. Chris Rock wrote it, directed it, starred in it. It's super fucking funny. And Top 5 is a reference to when you're talking about rappers, who's your top 5. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like an ongoing thing throughout the movie. Rosario Dawson, the scene is like I'm playing her boyfriend, who she suspects is cheating on her with a guy. And she finds out, and out of like revenge, just for being somebody who cheats on her, I keep to preface, I keep asking her to like finger my butthole, and she's like, okay, like I'll do it, and it's like becomes my thing. I'm like, as soon as we get home from dinner, I'm like, hey, let's do the butthole thing, and she's like, what the hell is going on here? So then she finds out I've been cheating on her with some guy, and so I'm like, hey, let's do the butthole thing. She's like, yeah, okay, and she takes a tampon out of her purse and covers it in hot sauce, and then shoves it up my ass. And I go crazy because apparently that hurts, that burns. I didn't go method on that. But to make this scene, I'm wearing what's called like a cock sock. It's just essentially just like a bag for marbles, right? That you just put your junk and your trunk all in, and you like cinch the cord.
Oh, that's
right?
how they do it.
Otherwise, butt ass naked. And bent over, and Rosario Dawson herself is just looking at my bare asshole.
No way.
And I've known her like for a week now, or just maybe even a few days at this time. And I'm like, hey, just tell me it's okay back there. She's like, yeah, not bad. You're good. Don't worry. You're good. You know, I'm like, you know, what toilet paper? What's the situation? You just don't know unless you can like look in the mirror upside down. You jump on the counter of the bathroom. But dude, I was like, are we good? She's like, we're good. Don't sweat it. I'm like, all right, great. So, very close quarters.
So that's how they do
that's
how they do softcore porn is cock socks. Like the things I was watching in high school, that's cock socks.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I presume that's where I'll end up someday.
Well, John Hamm was a fluffer.
When everyone's like,
so he knows. John Hamm came on and his odd job was a fluffer. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, dude. Before he hit it big, John Hamm used to get the people ready.
Tell me more.
Yeah, he used to get the people ready on softcore porn sites. I don't know what goes into that. I don't know if they have like a duster. That is what I imagine. They walk around just dusting people's sacks. Shit like that. Like what?
Just like a little feather.
I don't know. What goes into being a
good for him. He's got it all, huh?
Yeah, he does have it all, I hear.
Yeah. You know what's funny about comedy to drama is that like he's super funny, right?
Yeah.
But he's also like very good in drama and stuff. And a buddy of mine and I were like, man, like he must have been like a huge dork in high school who like blossomed.
Yeah.
And so then we Google Images John Hamm High School. And the first picture that pops up is the most handsome football player you've ever seen. Just eye fucking this camera like, hi, I'm John America.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. I'm like, okay, so I guess he was cool in high school too. He never blossomed. He was just always the man.
Yeah, he went to high school at John Burroughs, where my wife coached PE. Thankfully, my wife coached PE in 2010, not when he was at the school, because I wouldn't let her go into work as a student or a staff member. But yeah, no, John Hamm's super cool in St. Louis. It's in St. Louis. He's a St. Louis guy. You know who else went to Burroughs? Okay. Ellie Kemper.
Yeah.
Ellie Kemper.
And I met her at the Super Bowl. She was like the nicest person in the world. St. Louis girl.
She's the best.
Yeah,
she's
St.
awesome.
Louis gal.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we talked about the cock sock. This is the meat of the interview. This is what I wanted to get to. Sex scenes. And like, And well, you know, if you were a laugher, but then you know, it's the making out. It's the making out. There we go. Yeah. The making out, and like the kissing, and like having to pitch that to your significant other. Like, how does that go? I don't know if you've had to do that. I mean, I don't know if the butthole scene qualifies, but like, you know, hey, I got to kiss this hot babe at work. How does that go?
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great.
You know, when you talk about it on podcasts, doesn't like help.
But
she don't listen to this one. She's been she tries to listen to the things I do. But like, I think she's been on set for one. Yeah. What up, Emma?
What up? You're the best. He was telling me about you.
She was on set for Mindy Project one time. So I think she kind of did see like, oh, this is like just a bunch of guys with cameras and lights, and like somebody's holding a microphone like right over your faces. Like, she sees that like we're creating this thing and it's not real. When you watch it, you go, ooh, this is a steamy scene. You don't know that like the person you're acting with like just ate enchiladas from lunch or whatever, you know, and all that stuff that goes into it. So yeah, and like, you know, you're just trying to be like cordial to the person, and like you snap into character, and so you're pretending to be like loose and into it and all that stuff. But like the last thing you want to do is be like, yeah, I'm fucking into this. And then like they call cut and you're looking at them like pretty good, right? And they're like, you're creeping me out. Like, that was me pretending like this is not real.
Yeah.
Like, we get paid to do this. So yeah, it's, I mean, I'm sure in the 80s, maybe shit was wild. I don't know. But, these days, like, you're clocking in, you know what you're doing.
Yeah. It makes me feel for the porn actors and actresses, because it's kind of the same situation.
You know, that's different, right?
It looks really glamorous. Yeah. I've been told it looks really glamorous, but the same thing with the enchiladas and all the other stuff. And like, they got to stop and they got to start and the whole thing. Like, it's not what it looks like.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely try and like brush your teeth before you do those scenes, that kind of stuff. Maybe you do skip the enchiladas, but you don't know. You don't know what's happening.
You never know.
Somebody might be like getting over a head cold. Who knows? But I expect more from the porno industry, to be honest. If you're just there to fuck, skip the enchiladas.
Yeah, for real, dude. For real. I mean, but people
show some
gotta
professionalism.
What about Conan? When I saw he said that you guys there were some porno origin plot lines in Workaholics. Is that totally a bit?
When we were a sketch group, just doing internet sketch stuff, we did a spoof of Bang Bus, which you know is like a bus that drives around, picks up girls.
Oh, we're familiar with Bang Bus
for sure. They fuck. So we did a spoof where like we're talking to camera. We're like, "Yo, what's up? Our favorite porno site is bangbus.com. We're going to try it ourselves." So we get in the minivan that I drove at the time. We cruise over. We pick up this girl who was a friend of ours, very funny comedian. And she gets in and we're like, here we go. Cut to dead silence. We're all super nervous, driving around like, so did you have an accent? I thought I heard she's like, no. We're like, okay. And then it's just like, time marches on. She's like, yeah, I'm right up here. We're like, cool. Yeah, we'll pull over. Okay, great. Hey, take care. Okay. And then she closes the door and we're just like, we could have banged that chick. And it was funny because the video's kind of funny, but the funniest part of it was that we loaded it on YouTube and it got the most clicks out of anything we ever made because it just said Bang Bus. And then all the comments were like, you guys are losers. I would have fucked her 6 ways from Sunday. And you're like, I'm sure you would from your fucking parents' basement or whatever.
From your Twitch
but yeah, so
chair.
we've always been deep into porno comedy.
Yeah, hard right turn to Robert De Niro here. What's it like working with him? And you know, like in general, when you get on a set and you're working with somebody like that, do people tiptoe around that person? I'm sure there's some guys that are cool, some guys that aren't as cool. Maybe there's certain rules, like you don't sit in that guy's chair, you don't eat his enchilada. Right. Like, what's that like working with A-listers, and what's Robert De Niro like? You
definitely don't sit in his chair, but like if anybody sits in my chair, there's gonna be some bows thrown. No, like he's the kind of guy who, like, it goes with no saying, like, this is Robert De Niro, right? Like when he steps on set, everybody's looking, right? But he's not a guy who steps on set and is like, I'm here, let's do it. You know, he's such a collaborator. He's like warm. He always has done his homework, and he's not a guy who like outwardly expects you've done yours. He knows you've done it because you're in a scene with him, right? Like, but like he'll go off the page and like improvise a little bit, which is always fun. I've done a comedy with him and then like a light drama. So he got to see like my wheelhouse. He's like, oh, on this comedy I did with Sebastian Maniscalco, he's like, you're way different in this movie. I'm like, well, good, great, because that means I have some range and I'm not just the exact same guy. And then the thing that I took from working with him the first time was that like he's not in charge. The director's in charge, and he's like, what am I doing? Like, tell me what to do. You know, he'll do his takes, and then they'll be like, can I get a little bit more of this? You got it. Can I get a little bit more like that? You got it. Like, he's the paint, they're the artist or the brush or whatever you want to call it. Like, and he doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody of his stature could be like, I think we got it. I think like, I I did it the way that it should be done, and the way you're suggesting it's not good. Like, he's in their hands.
Yes.
And I was like, if De Niro can do that, like, I definitely can be like a guy who's like, I don't know if I understand the suggestion you're giving me, but like, fuck it, I'll try it. Yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's go. Maybe you use it, maybe you won't.
Yeah, so he's coachable. I mean, I figure there's some actors and actresses that probably burn pretty hot and eventually get hard to work with, and that kind of word goes around.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, like, that if you aren't willing to try something, I think it comes from an insecurity, you know? But then it can also come from like a distrust of your director. And so like, I trust a director until I see something that like, that breaks the trust, where I'm like, oh, I don't know if they know exactly what they're doing, you know? But, I've had good luck just being like, all right, I'll try it. Shit. Yeah. Who knows? Who cares? Maybe I won't even be good enough to do the thing they want me to do, but I'll try, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're not willing to try, like, why are you there?
Yeah.
If you got it all dialed in, like, that seems so boring. You're going to come here and do exactly what you thought you were going to do, and not like step outside of the idea of what you thought you were supposed to do or capable of doing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and each director is probably way different. Is there like a period when you get on set where you haven't worked with a director, where you're like feeling that person out, like the first couple of days, like what the fuck is this guy or gal about? Like, and can that be a little bit of a tightrope? Yeah,
I mean, I'm not like a guy who kind of like tests directors. There's some actors who you can tell are like testing the.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where they're just like, I'm gonna see if I can kind of shake them up, catch them off their toes, or watch how they interact with other people, like, just to see like what they can get away with or who's in charge of the set. Because there's some actors who, you know, again, it's like you're exposing yourself, so to do this kind of thing, like it can be, you can be insecure, like all of us, everybody can be insecure in these moments, but it's how you bring it with your co-stars or your director or this, you know, fucking makeup people, like, or you can blow up at like the lighting guy or whatever it is when you're not feeling great.
Right.
But like, I try and just kind of project openness and fun, and I'm also not a guy who's going to sign up for a movie where I play like a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like a good time to me.
No, I don't think that's your lane.
Show up and be super serious.
Yeah. What about have you ever worked with a method actor who's like taking the shit really serious, and you know, they come on set and you're like, well, he's not all the way with us right now. Like he's homeless in his mind or something like that.
Well, not really. I did one night on a movie that you can't even see my face. I play like a police officer that pulls over this car in a movie called Inherent Vice.
Yes,
which is
I was
a
going to
Paul
ask
Thomas
you about
Anderson
that.
movie.
Yeah, love that movie.
Yeah. So like, apparently, and I don't want to like speak out of school, but like my agents were like, "Hey, Paul Thomas loves Workaholics," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's like a huge comedy fan. Obviously, his wife was on SNL and all that, and he loves your show." And like, I auditioned for The Master and like didn't get it because I was god awful. Shit. And then I auditioned for Inherent Vice, and I think he was just like, just bring him on set. So then all night I'm filming one scene with Joaquin, who, just to circle back to the like method actor, was kind of in character, but not. And I had met him once before. Mm-hmm. And so I got kind of like a moment of like, hey, what up? But then it was back to kind of work brain.
Yeah.
And then Martin Short was there, which was fucking just like unreal. Funniest dude ever. And all night I'm just like fucking with a flashlight and the gun, like, get out of the car. Mm-hmm. And I don't see Paul Thomas Anderson. He's like at the monitors kind of directing from there. I'm working mostly with the AD who's like, got to get lower or like whatever. I'm like, all right. And then end of the night, he comes out and he's like, what up, dude? Thanks so much for coming here. Like, do you want to have some whiskey? And I'm like, and it's 6 a.m. We filmed all night. And I'm like, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And like, we shoot the shit for like 5 minutes, whatever. He's like, all right, man, thanks for coming by. I'm like, for sure. And then I just like went straight to a diner to get breakfast and was like, unbelievable. Just worked on a Paul Thomas Anderson movie and had like a little bit of whiskey with him and shot the shit. So good.
I didn't realize he did The Master too.
Yeah.
I love The Master.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure exactly what it's about, but that's my kind of movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's a movie you can watch 100 times and realize it's about something new every time, you know?
Every fucking time. About My Father, which my producer Matt watched last night and absolutely loved.
Was dying laughing.
He was dying laughing
Thanks,
the whole
man.
time. So, he doesn't trust
especially
you.
when you got hit with the tennis ball.
Yeah. There's
Another
like a
butthole scene.
classic. Yeah. They were like, so you're the butthole guy, right? Great. Get in here. That was fun.
How do you reconcile this? Because when I go to watch a movie, I do admittedly go to like Rotten Tomatoes, which is a fucking highbrow snobby thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of the times they get it right, or at least they're in range.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at something like that and the audience loved it. It was like the audience was like 85% or something. So it's a success and everything I've heard is great. And then the critics don't like it. How do you feel about, you know, something like Rotten Tomatoes getting too much pull, or, you know, is that too inexact a science? And how do you respond to criticism, you know, when you put out a project? Because I feel like it's got to be pretty personal.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, because look, I value critics, right? But I'm also like, who are these critics and what are they critiquing, right? Like, are they critiquing the acting, the writing, the directing, the story, or are they critiquing like what it is against other movies? I don't know. It's interesting. Sometimes they come with a little bit of baggage to the movie where they're like, I don't like his style of comedy. And you're like, well, then you're not going to like this movie. So, you know what I mean? But like, if there's somebody who can watch it kind of with an open mind and go, I thought it was pretty good for what it was, you know? And I don't subscribe to like well, this movie's not for you, right? I just think that's a fucking... So am I not supposed to like Little Women? Is that not for me? Is Boys in the Hood like not for me? Like, great movies, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If a movie's good and it connects on a human level, like, I'm into it, right? And that's what everyone's trying to do. So yeah, I think that there is some accuracy to it. The numbers can't lie. But at the same time, like, I made a movie called Game Over Man with the Workaholics dudes, and it got like destroyed. But like, everybody who likes Workaholics loved Game Over Man, you know? But like, yeah, some people get their dicks cut off in the movie and it's a little out there. So like, you know, not for everybody.
It's run-of-the-mill comedy.
Yeah.
I what's going on with the Workaholics movie, speaking of that? Because I know it was greenlit and there's like a delay, but I was saving my binging for the movie. I want to see the movie first, so that's why I've waited.
Well, you should just start watching the show because the movie ain't happening. No, it's a bummer.
Not happening?
So, the industry right now is just like in turmoil. Everything's kind of like merging, buying, and like trying to figure out who they are. So we were with... under the Viacom umbrella, Paramount Plus is where this movie was going to be. And so we wrote a movie script. We were working on the script, and we were 5 weeks out from filming, from production. And we had like cleared everyone's schedule. We'd gotten actors lined up. We had started renting studio space. We were going to start building sets like the following day. And when Paramount Plus came back from the holiday break, that first week of January, they were like, we've got a new mandate. We're doing bigger, more popular IP, global agenda. Like, that's what they want to do. Big box office type shit. And we aren't exactly big box office. Like, we're like a cult classic or whatever. But also we the movie we wanted to make was not like the cheapest movie, right? Like, the budget was going to be like Us, and then the budget of the movie was going to be like 15 million, and I don't think they wanted to spend that. So we actually did okay, and we got paid for not making a movie, which is crazy, because it was like a pay or play deal. because, we all scheduled like, all right, we're off the books. We can't take jobs, right? So we did fine, but like it's a bummer for all the people we wanted to get back and see that like worked on the show originally. Those people kind of got screwed scheduling their careers at that moment for the movie, and then it didn't come together. But the script is crazy. It's crazy. It was going to be fucking nuts.
I can't wait. I believe it's going to happen. I believe it's still going to happen.
If it doesn't happen in the next 175 days, they got to pay us again. So we'll see. We'll see if they want to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of time. Yeah. This is like a Bobby Bonilla situation where you just keep getting paid for. Do you have a favorite cult classic? You classified y'all's genre, if it were a movie, as being a cult classic kind of deal. Do you have a favorite cult classic comedy?
Man, I don't know. I think if I had a cult classic, I feel like everything I liked is no longer a cult classic. Like I liked Dazed and Confused when it was a cult classic, but now it's just kind of like this
on every poster.
Yeah, it's huge. Cult classic. I like is I'm Gonna Get You Sucker a cult classic, or is that just a classic?
Yeah, I think so. I think is Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood a cult classic?
Or is it just a classic? Like, by the way,
is MacGruber a cult classic? Because I love MacGruber.
Yes. You know what I'll call a cult classic that's like recent is
Grandma's Boy.
Pop Star.
I haven't seen Pop Star.
You have to see Pop Star. It's Andy Samberg and Akiva and Yorma, that were like in a sketch group that went to SNL, and like they do all the music together, right? So they did a movie that's like a mockumentary about a Justin Bieber type guy who left his like hip hop group to become a huge star, and like them getting back together, and it just skewers all that pop culture bullshit, but is also just like so fucking funny. And just nobody saw it, unfortunately.
I'll check it out because I'm in need of. I got a lot of traveling to do here soon. But on About My Father, we're Succession fans, and we know Carl's in the movie.
Yeah.
We know you've worked with Greg the Egg before.
Yeah.
And How to Be Single.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Carl? I guess did it like coincide with the series where people are asking him like, what the fuck's gonna happen, Carl?
Yeah. During press,
what was that like?
It was like I did press with him and Brett Dyer, who played my brother in the movie. And David Raishi, who was Carl on Succession, played my father in About My Father. And we all did press as like a threesome together. And almost like half of it was like, and David, tell us about how Succession ends. And we would just have to sit there and be like, yeah, how's it end? But like About My Father's funny. That dude is the funniest. I think he steals the movie. And I'm not trying to like undercut Bob or Sebastian, but dude, and even just like after work going out for dinner and watching him do like bits with like the wait staff who are like, is this like a crazy old person who like doesn't understand what's happening? And you're just like, he'll be like, do you have wet water? And they're like, yeah, we can get you that. We'll be right back. And he goes, oh, and one of those warm napkins. Thank you. And they're just like, I don't know what's going on. But funnier than that, because he's funnier than that. And then Greg. And then I also worked with a guy named Aryan who was in this show that I did that was called...
Stewie. Oh, Stewie.
Stewie. Yeah, Stewie. And he's awesome. All three of those dudes, Nick, they're all... obviously they're all great because they're on a great show. But yeah, it's fun to like have a foot in, and I actually need to watch the last couple seasons. I haven't.
Oh, we won't say anything.
I fell off the track.
Won't say anything. Greg dies
again,
but we won't say anything.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about My Father. Like you're a tennis guy in there, and I'm just wondering what the odds would be if you guys played each other in tennis. Because Macon's a former athlete. He's very proud of his tennis career. Did you play tennis? Did you have to take lessons? Were you like a good tennis player?
I had a brother who went downstate in high school, so like I had a little bit of experience playing with him. And I went to tennis camp until like 7th grade, and then I focused on swimming.
Okay, let's try to connect here. You have 3 kids. Chris and I are about to have our 3rd kid, not together, but respectively.
Yeah.
Is 3 the right number of kids to have?
Yeah, because I'm a 3rd. So, like, that's how I look at it.
Oh, you're the 3rd.
I'm a 3rd of 3 boys, too.
You're the baby.
Myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the oldest of 3, so.
Must be nice.
What's going on with the... Yeah, right? Well, that's what they say. The middle child really gets it the easiest. Kyle gets it the easiest. We talk about that on the pod a lot. What's going on with the writer's strike, man? I see you talking about the writer's strike on social. You know, like you seem to be pretty entrenched in it. Help us download what the hell's going on.
So basically it comes down to compensation for writers, and it comes down to like work conditions. So there's just been a lot of things that have been happening as television and movies have moved from theaters and traditional television like network, right, or cable, to streamers. And there's a lot of like loopholes where these production companies, these streamers are trying to make writers work under different conditions, whether that is, hey, we're only going to do 6 or 10 episodes, but we're going to sign you to a contract for a year. So when you used to work doing like 22 episodes for like The Office or one of those network shows, you were set for the year. Like you were busy the whole year. You didn't have to worry. But now you work for 10 episodes. You've got an entire like half of the year that you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs like, I can't take other income. Like no one's going to hire me because they don't want to be second position to another show that could come back out of nowhere. Right. And then also just like the way things used to work. And by the way, I know businesses evolve, but like this strike is part of the evolution. So the way things used to work is you would get paid X for when an episode aired originally, right? And then it would air again and you get paid a little less than X. Then it could go into syndication and you would get paid all over again. And if it was a success, it would just keep syndicating year after year after year after year. And because they're selling ad dollars off of the product you created, they are making money, and so you are making money. And it's a fabulous thing. So that like, if you wrote an episode of TV 20 years ago, you might get a $500 check in the mail out of nowhere because it just played on some network in Australia or something, right? So it was cool. And by the way, you got 500, but the network got X amount of money more, right? So like everybody was stoked. But as things have turned global, the syndication practice has diminished. It's a little bit smaller, doesn't exist. If I do a show for Netflix, Netflix is global. So like I'm not getting paid again when it goes to a different region. I'm just getting paid that one time, and it's not even going to syndicate here in the States again. It's just going to live there. So you would think that we would be getting paid more upfront for that one thing, like that one time, based on the fact that we used to get paid a little bit, not a little bit, but like what we got paid, and then you get paid more as they kept making more money. And so like, you know, these people who created like a show like Friends, sure, they're richer than you could ever imagine. But then on Netflix, it was like a huge success, and they don't get paid based on how much of a success it was 20 years later, even if it was the biggest show on the largest streamer, which just seems kind of bogus, right? Especially if it's like the thing you created. And so we're just trying to close the loopholes on that kind of stuff. And, you know, there's also dirty shit like Comedy Central, where Workaholics was. We have to get paid for full episodes, right? So what they would do is they would cut about 3 or 4 minutes out of episodes to make it like legally a clip. And then they would just play the entire seasons with episodes missing 3 minutes out of it on their website with ads playing, making revenue.
That's wild.
And I'm not making money off of that. So you're just like, you know, if you guys were just cool about it, like, and not so money hungry, we wouldn't have to do this. But I get it. You know, you want to stack cash. Everybody does. But we want to get our money too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, have you lost friends over it, like in the industry?
No,
I mean,
it's
I
not
don't know
even
how
like
contentious
that.
it is.
It's not even like that. It's like
It's not a hardcore thing.
It's I don't make it hardcore. I'm just like, this is business as usual. What do you expect from me? To just like work for peanuts? Like, sorry, it's not gonna happen. Just like I wouldn't expect producers not to be like looking for way more ways to like make money. But when you do it in like shady ways where you're like cutting corners, then it's like, what are you doing? Just everybody's making out great. Why do you need to like ruin it by like screwing us out of something? And then there's the whole like AI thing, which I'm not truly concerned about because I just think AI is inevitable, and that's not a popular take among writers who are like, what do you mean? Fucking, they're gonna have robots writing for us. And I'm like, yeah, but if and they will, and if they don't, they're gonna do it in other countries, and like, I think it's inevitable. So if they really want to open the floodgates to have Chat GPT or that type of thing writing scripts now, they just need to be ready for the other foot to drop, which is that these AI things can also make movie posters. They can handle marketing. They can do scheduling. They can do their job just as easily. So like, like if they want to make that bed, they're going to end up sleeping in it, and then we'll all be fucked. And I think it'll come down to the government being like, all right, we can't really do this stuff.
I think we'll be fucked because I don't think Chat GPT can be funny.
Yeah, it can. It can.
You think?
Can be funny. Yeah, I've seen. Well,
have you seen it be
and here's
funny?
Another thing, and I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like writers are writing like little notes on their like strike signs, and like half of it says like Writers Guild striking, and then the other half is blank for like you to write like a clever whatever. 75% of them are garbage. Like 75% of them are not funny. Right? So like it's as funny as ChatGPT, and 25% or 20% of them are good, and then 5% of them you're like, Jesus, that's a fucking bullseye right there. Great joke. But like it's going to get better. It's going to get funnier. It's going to get more human. And I know people argue like, well, it doesn't have life experience. And it's like, yes, but as long as we're documenting life experience, which is happening more and more at an exponential rate, whether it's like writing or vlogging or streaming, like it's downloading all this information and idiosyncrasy and categorizing just like the human brain does. Like we're not special. We're not mystical. Like we just repeat things that we saw that we think are cool, and then we do our take. It's going to be able to do that. And, it's only been around for broadly for like 6 months or something, right? Maybe a year, ChatGPT or that kind of thing. In 10 years, like, come on, it's going to be insane. It's going to be wild. So anyway, I'm less concerned about that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And like school, like, are my kids going to write anything?
No, they're not going to write anything. Are you kidding me?
And writers aren't going to write anything. If you're a writer and you're not using ChatGPT to get that first draft out, like, wouldn't you want to be writing 10 screenplays at once instead of just that one? Like, writers are lying if they're saying they're not going to use it. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Where are you?
Maybe Russillo can finally get something off the ground.
Right, Russillo, a talentless hack.
Yeah. Anders' 15-minute commencement speech was the fastest thing the Cole Center's ever seen. That's a basketball pace joke.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Very slow basketball team. Here's a little factoid.
Yeah.
Dick Bennett, the basketball coach, played college football with my dad at Ripon College.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go check out the Hall of Fame
Dick
at
Bennett
Ripon
comes
College.
to all the games here.
Oh, yeah?
Dick Bennett's son, Tony, wins national championships at Virginia.
Yeah, we also play slow as fuck, so thanks a lot.
Yeah.
It is no joke.
Yeah, so, Anders, appreciate the time, dude. We told you we'd get you out by midnight, and I think we did it. So enjoy that LaCroix. And
shout out to
and
LaCroix.
I cannot wait to see the movie.
Key lime deliciousness.
Disgusting,
check out the
dude.
movie. Check out the movie and stay tuned for Godzilla King of the Monsters or something. I don't know what it's called, but they're going to have a crazy
King of
title
the
for it, I
Monsters,
promise.
I can't wait. Thanks for coming on. Long overdue. And we'll see you soon, dude.
Hey, man, just want to say Your mom.
I was trying to think of one too, and I couldn't.
Your mom eats caterpillars for breakfast.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I don't think that one's very good.
It's not good at all.
Personally,
right? It's not good at all.
Why don't we kick this thing back off? Why don't we commit to kicking this thing back off? Are you even still on Twitter, like in this hellscape that it is currently?
Yeah, for this, I'll get back on. What about your mom's got a chip on her shoulder? It's sour cream and onion. Wait, and I did want to say about the 2-lane, 4-lane joke. Mm-hmm. You got to set up. You got a punchline. Is there a tag? Is there a tag that you can add to that where it's like you heard 2 lanes expanding? It's gonna be 4 lanes, traffic both ways, like another
good.
little
third layer. I've never layered
That's good.
a third layer.
Historically, it's been
because when people
laughter.
aren't laughing and you drag it out. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really haven't had an opening to add a layer to it.
This is the best guess we've ever had because he just puts you in your place. You know.
Well, it's like looking into a mirror, you know.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You just
I'm just
you're in, you're out,
is like
no
this
laughs.
is just joke mechanics. I feel like it would really stretch it out in a way where like you can live in it a little longer. Because I feel like that's what you like to do.
Can you give us tips on being funny? Because we're not. But you know, like.
Did you hear the Cole Center?
Can you? Yeah.
Joke.
Can you actually teach somebody to be funny? Because I know you're like. You know, you write and you work with people, and I feel like you know that somebody's either got it or they don't, or is there like a 20% gap that you can close with some people by technique?
I think there's a 20%
and just working
gap.
at it.
Yeah, you just work at it.
Really?
It's like any muscle. Yeah, I think it's like any talent. Like if you got to be like a little bit there, but if you work hard and you hone in and you kind of watch the people who you like or the people who people like, and you go, wow, that person's like really dialed in this way. Like, why'd they laugh again at that part? You know, you just analyze it. You know what I mean? It's like watching tape, right?
Yeah.
You can pick up other people's tricks, try it yourself, see if it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you just try another thing, and if that works, it works, and then you move on, and you've got like another arrow in your quiver or whatever. So I'm just saying, I think adding a little tag to it will really stretch it out in a more uncomfortable way. Like, and it'll double down on it in that you think it's very good.
By the time your mom left 2-lane, place had become 4-lane. Traffic both ways.
Gotta go.
There it is.
We gotta go.
There it is. And it's midnight on the dot, guys. Thanks for having me.
Honors, appreciate you, dude. We'll see you next time. Okay? All right, brother. Take it easy. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.